What's up, guys? It's Ben with 2020 election predictions, and right now I'm going live. Let me just do a quick few things, but right now I definitely want to focus on the presidential election between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and kind of see who do I think is up right now, and who do I think is going to be trending to win. So let me figure out a couple things real quick. But please ask some questions right now. So let's see where it is. One thing I think is pretty interesting is that the Real Clear Politics betting odds average for the president right now are pretty even right now. Right as of this point, I think that Trump's election chances are going to drop a little bit. We just got word that Trump is actually pulling ads out of the state of Arizona. And while some polls have recent polls do have Donald Trump up in some states that he was down before, we saw a slew of Fox News polls that had Donald Trump and Republicans all across the board down a lot in states. So we had a Fox News poll that had Donald Trump down by 9 points in the state of Arizona, and Martha McSally down by 17 points compared to Mark Kelly. So, I mean, that was a really big surprise for me to see. But I think that Trump definitely had a RNC bump, but I think that wave that he was riding is going to start to diminish a little bit. So I would love to answer some of your questions in the chat right now. I have some videos that I pre-recorded for the for Sunday night and Monday night. I think those are going to be really cool, so y'all should definitely check them out. So let me get to the chat real quick. I think that Trump is definitely improving in the state of Florida, but I think that he is declining in states like Arizona. So I don't think that Trump necessarily needs Arizona to win. I think Arizona, out of all the states that Trump won in 2016, Arizona has trended to the left the most. I think even more than Texas. Arizona only has 11 electoral votes, and I think like some other states like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Florida definitely have a lot more electoral votes. So Trump could win all the states that he won in 2016 and lose Arizona and Michigan and still win, but his margin of error isn't that big. So why do you want to start your channel? Why do you want to start? And do you think withdrawing ads from Arizona will hurt Trump or Biden? Well, I think this will definitely hurt Trump more. But I think what the Trump campaign is seeing is that Arizona might not be winnable, and that like Martha McSally is definitely toast, and Trump is probably toast. So if Trump is going to kind of move his funds from Arizona to maybe some of these more Rust Belt states like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, that honestly might be smart, because they Michigan and Pennsylvania and Florida all have more electoral votes than Arizona. And I mean, if this Fox News poll is anywhere close to right now, that has Donald Trump down by 9 points and Joe Biden up by 9 points. Joe Biden over 50% and Mark Kelly with 55% of the vote, compared to Martha McSally's like 38 or something. I mean, the Trump campaign is very smart to pull their money out of Arizona, but that is not a good sign. And I really just don't think that I can justify odds being even right now. So I think that definitely Trump's betting odds are probably going to go down a little bit. Right now it's at 50.4 to 49. For it's very, very close, within about what 1.5 points. And I mean, Trump's definitely improved in the betting odds, and I think that is partly due to Christopher, thank you so much for the super chat. I'd really encourage y'all to do a bunch of super chats. I really appreciate getting them. But how do you feel about North Carolina? Nate Silver moved it to lean Democrat. I did see this in his model. I still think that Trump holds an advantage in the state of North Carolina. The polls have kind of been all over the place. We have Trump +2, we have Biden +2, Trump +1, Biden +1. Trump won the state of North Carolina by 3.5 points in 2016. Unlike some other states, I really don't think that North Carolina has trended that far leftward. Parth, thank you so much for your super chat. If you have a question that you want answered, I would love to answer it, but thank you so much. But again, going back to North Carolina, I don't think it has trended as far leftward like states like Arizona or Georgia have. But I think North Carolina definitely is going to be a swing state. North Carolina has a lot of different like regions. Like you have like the urban regions, you have a kind of the more mountainous region, more of the coastal regions. So a lot of different types of voters. I still think Trump is probably going to win by between 1 and 2 points, which would be an underperformance of his 2016 win when he won by 3.5 points. But North Carolina is not going to decide the 2020 election between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. If Biden wins North Carolina, then I don't think Trump has a path. But if Trump wins North Carolina, he's going to have to win a lot more states. Like he's going to have to win Florida. He has to win Florida. If Trump loses Florida, he's done. If Biden wins Florida, then Biden wins the election. But also, if Trump wins Florida, then the election is a pure toss-up. I mean, Trump still has to win one of the Rust Belt states, and if he loses Arizona, then he has to win 2 of the Rust Belt states, Florida and North Carolina, and still hold on to Iowa and Ohio, which I don't think he will have too much trouble doing. Thoughts about the mail-in ballots affecting the elections. I think the election night is going to be a total debacle. I don't think we are going to know who has won. I've been reading a lot of things, and I'm going to put out a video on Monday about this, how it's called the Red Mirage, where I think Donald Trump could be up a lot. I mean, this one think tank said that Donald Trump could have 400 electoral votes, like be winning in states like New Mexico, Colorado, states that he probably won't win, but because the mail-in votes came in late, and I think more Democrats are going to be voting for, or most of the mail-in votes are going to be Democrats because the coronavirus has been very politicized. So I think that definitely that mail-in voting will have an effect, but I think that all the mail-in votes will end up being counted, but I think it could take about 1 week for it to be counted. So this might kind of be like Bush v. Gore. We aren't going to know who the president is on November 3rd when all of us go vote. And I think that some media stations are going to call whoever is up. Like some people might call that Trump is going to win, but then they're going to have to go back on that. Just like in 2000 when some people called Bush to win, or some people called Gore to win, and they were wrong. I think with Twitter, with social media, with our phones, it's going to be even worse. I mean, there's going to be allegations of fraud from both sides. Hillary Clinton told Biden, even if he is down, even if it looks like that he's lost the presidential election, Hillary Clinton told Biden, do not concede. And I mean, this was a huge deal in 2016 because the Clinton campaign was accusing Trump, if he were to lose, that he wouldn't accept the election results. So I think it's going to be crazy. I think Trump is probably, if he's up on on election night, he's probably going to call himself the winner. And I think the Biden campaign is going to hire a bunch of lawyers. I just saw a Fox News article that said the Trump campaign is doing the same thing. And the election might go to the Supreme Court like it did in 2000, which would just cause a ruckus, especially because two of the Supreme Court justices were appointed by Trump. And the Supreme Court isn't going to be asked directly, are you voting for Trump or are you voting for Biden? But just like in 2000, the Supreme Court, in a 5-4 decision, basically said that no recounts could take place in Florida for many different like legal reasons. But in effect, they called the presidential election for Bush, and Democrats are still kind of mad about it. I think Bush would have won anyway. But if that happens in 2020, I mean, I think the country is going to go crazy. There's going to be protests. I mean, it's going to be crazy. And I honestly think that John Roberts, he's typically a more conservative judge. He was appointed by Bush. I think he could honestly cast the deciding vote that might actually have Biden winning, because John Roberts, on many different cases, is becoming more of the swing vote, and he's been willing to kind of vote against Trump. Let's see, Parth. I did see your super chat. Thank you so much, Parth. And I would really encourage anyone else. I see a lot of chats to do a super chat, so I'll kind of focus just on what you're talking about in the super chat. So how you do it is you click the $ here, and you can just donate any amount of money, even like $1 or $2 is great, and then type in what topic you want talked about, or a question that you want answered, and it will come to the top of my screen. So I'll definitely answer that first. So let me kind of read some of these other chats. I'll wait on some of the super chats, but there's a lot to get through. I see currently a Biden 319, Trump 219. That's actually my prediction right now too. That assumes that Trump wins North Carolina, but loses like Arizona and Florida. That's kind of where I have it too. You should read some, let's see. I have a feeling Trump is going to call himself winner on election night despite votes not being fully counted. I mean, this is probably going to happen. And I think that there is room for voter fraud to happen with the mail-in voting, because I just think it's less secure. I mean, it's just really hard, because I think we have to have some sort of like mail-in voting with the coronavirus. Like, I totally understand that. But we also want safe and secure elections. So I think it's definitely a balance. I understand the people on both sides who are angry about mail-in voting, because I totally understand where both sides are coming from. And I mean, this election just has so many consequences. So I totally understand both sides like wanting this election to be fair and having everyone having access to the ballot. So let's see. I mean, yeah, all the votes are going to have to be counted, and I mean, there's going to be all these issues with these did some of these ballots get thrown out, or there's just going to be a lot of allegations of voter fraud on both sides. I think it doesn't help that the U.S. Postal Service has endorsed Biden. I think a lot of people on the right are not going to be happy with that, and they're going to accuse maybe some of these postal workers of being biased. Because, I mean, really, like, what is stopping a rogue postal worker who isn't getting paid that much from just like going to a, like, let's say, like in the suburbs, to a neighborhood that typically votes for the GOP? What is stopping this rogue postal worker from just dumping the ballots? Like, it just isn't as secure as voting in person. And we saw in North Carolina in the 2018 midterms, when the Republican candidate in the 9th district kind of did a similar thing. I mean, with voting by mail, they would send votes to voters and then take the unfilled ballots out and then fill them out themselves and sign it. And I mean, that was a huge example of voter fraud that the Republican candidate did. And I think when we see vote by mail all across the country, and really it's only going to matter in the swing states. So like Arizona, Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, but I think it's going to have a huge effect. What are your thoughts on LTE, REP, and EP official? I don't want to talk badly about all of them, but I think I can say this, and y'all would agree with me that I think LTE is a little bit more left leaning. REP definitely more on the right, and I honestly think election predictions officials like pretty unbiased. And I try to be unbiased like him, but I definitely will accept criticism. Let's see. LTE is a Republican and serves parents. Elmea. I mean, I don't think it really matters like what your personal political affiliation is, but I do think that he does overestimate Biden just a little bit. I think it's going to be a little bit of a closer election than some people are saying. Like the people at JHK forecasts, they only give Biden or Trump a 15% to 20% chance. I'm kind of more in line with the Nate Silver type of view that has Trump at about like a 30% chance. And I'm not as convinced by the betting odds right now that have Trump at like a 49% chance to win. I would probably say like Trump right now probably has like a 30 to 35% chance of winning. So I definitely still give Biden the edge. All right, guys, right now I'm at 17 minutes in my video. I would love to answer some of y'all's questions. Please leave some super chats. All you have to do is hit the $ right here and just do a little bit of a super chat. It's really not that hard to do. And cool. So would love to see for y'all do that. So do y'all have any other questions that I can answer right now? I would love to answer some questions. I was recently just talking about how the betting odds, I think that Biden's betting odds are going to improve a little bit. I don't know if y'all are big on predict it, but we definitely see that Biden's chances on predicted are better than the betting odds. All right, Christopher, do you believe in polls after 2016? Many people have little faith in the polls after 2016, despite the polls being accurate in 2018. So right now, I can say I think the polls are going to be a little bit more accurate in 2020. We've seen ONW. Thank you so much for your super chat as well. I think that's pounds. That's really cool. So I think that the polls are going to be more accurate in 2020 because I've read some of the changes that the pollsters are making. I think in 2016, they oversampled college-educated voters like a whole lot. And I think what we saw is that a lot of voters without college degrees came out to vote, and the pollsters didn't realize this at all. I think from looking at the 2016 exit polls, the pollsters are now trying to get like a quota of college educated voters with also non-college educated voters. And I think that they've also done some changes to try to get the shy voter effect, like ask like, who do you think your neighbors are going to vote for? And I think that we have already seen this. I mean, Trump is overperforming the polls in the Rust Belt. So, and I think that is mainly due to a lot of the polling changes. I think right now Trump is probably doing the exact same in the Rust Belt as he was doing in 2016 at this point, maybe even a slight tad bit worse. But he is outperforming his 2016 polls. So I'm going to have a little bit more trust in the polls in 2020. I think that there's been kind of a shift away from the polls because people like trusted them a lot in 2016 because everyone thought that Hillary Clinton was going to win. But I'm actually a little bit on the other view. I'm going to trust the polls more now in 2020 than I did in 2016 because the polls were way off in 2016 on the state level in the Rust Belt. But you are right. In 2018, the polls were more accurate for sure. But like a lot of these pollsters are very cognizant. They don't want to underestimate Republican votes. I think kind of the only pollster right now that I think is very wrong is actually the Fox News poll. I think that the Fox News poll, just kind of looking at the very specific parts, I think that they're oversampling Democrats, and I think that they aren't going to be accused of being biased because like they're Fox News. But that's kind of the only pollster where I think that is only wrong. And the Trafalgar group, I mean, I don't think they're as good as a pollster as some of these pollsters like Emerson and Quinnipiac, but I think that they're a lot different and they definitely shouldn't just be ignored. They were right in Florida in 2018, and they were probably one of the more accurate state pollsters, like especially in the Rust Belt in 2016. They got Michigan right, they got Wisconsin right, they got Pennsylvania right, and same with Rasmussen. I don't think they should be the only poll that we look at. I think we should kind of look at kind of the real core politics average that includes a lot of polls. So when you weigh the polls according to turnout in 2018 or 2016, 2018, Trump is winning in almost every swing state. Well, if you do the turnout for 2016, this is true, not for 2018, because the 2018 we saw turnout was a lot higher among Democrats than Republicans. And I already know that turnout's going to be a lot greater in 2016 or greater in 2020 than in 2016. I think there's a lot of energy on both sides. So I really don't think that we can weigh the polls just according to the turnout in 2016. I don't think they're going to be accurate. But I do agree that a lot of the polls are oversampling Democrats, especially the Fox News polls. But when we do see like a Fox News poll out of Arizona that has Mark Kelly 17 points over Martha McSally, I don't think you can just completely turn your head to that. Like, I really just don't think Martha McSally has a chance at this point. So, this is just people who want Trump out. Oh, my connection is unstable. I hope that y'all can still see me. Because, I mean, I think that there's a lot of people on the Democratic side that are definitely energized against Trump, and like they might not love Biden, but I think they're still going to turn out to vote for him. So I mean, I don't think necessarily candidate enthusiasm is going to matter that much when you have such a polarizing figure like Trump. Thoughts on Massachusetts going red? I mean, heck no, it's not. It's not going red. All right, guys. I'm probably going to stay on this live stream for about 7 more minutes. So if y'all have any more super chats, I would love to see them. Christopher's kind of been carrying y'all with the super chats, but I would love to include more people in that. So let's see. I think Trump will win the debates, but Biden will win the presidency. That's kind of where I am right now. I think Trump is probably going to win the debates, and I think they could be a big inflection point in Trump's favor. But I think Trump's going to have to do very well. I think people are kind of assuming that Trump is going to win. So if Trump underperforms, I think that's going to reflect very badly on him. Parth, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Yeah, thoughts on Massachusetts going red? I've answered this. No? What? Which Midwest state do you think will be the closest? So, I don't think Biden's going to win rural Arizona. I think probably Pennsylvania, I guess. Or I guess Pennsylvania's not in the Midwest. Can you define what you mean by the Midwest? Parth. I really want to answer your question, bro. Also, with the super chats, you can write your question in the super chat, and it like lights up either like green or blue. So it's really easy for me to see. So I would love for y'all to do that. Um, thank you all so much for everyone who's already donated. I really appreciate that. So I'm probably going to be on here for 5 more minutes. So, okay, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. I probably think Pennsylvania will be the closest. I think Michigan will probably be the not the closest. I think Biden's probably going to win Michigan pretty easily, probably between like 4 and 5 points, maybe even more, because we've even seen like the Trump campaign's pulling out of Michigan. People are saying Texas might flip the next 2 elections. What are your thoughts on that? I think by 2028 or 2032, it has a chance. I think in 2024, it's going to be very contested. I don't think it's going to be in 2020, but I think it very, very well might be in 2024. I think definitely in 2028, it'll be like a pure swing state. Trump has pulled advertisements from Arizona for the remainder of September. This actually did surprise me a little bit because I feel like Trump has a lot more money than he did in 2020 or than he did in 2016. So Trump has pulled from Michigan because his internals are showing him up. I have a very hard time believing that. I would love to see his internal pollings if he wants to release them. I do know that the Trafalgar Group did release one poll where Trump was up by 2 points, but as far as I can see, that was probably an outlier. And look, I mean, I'm trying to be unbiased as possible. But let's see. Any chance of Tillis winning? Okay, Parth, just answer your question or write your question down right now. Thank you for sending your super chat. I really appreciate it. Let's see. So yeah, I'm probably gonna stay on here for about 5 more minutes. So if any of y'all have any final questions, send in a super chat right now, and I'll kind of focus on that for the remainder of this live stream. But I really like doing these live streams. Thank y'all for the 32 people that are on here. It's really cool to doing this. So any chance Tillis is pulling down Trump in North Carolina? I think it's very possible, but I think Tillis has a better chance than a lot of people think, just because I think Trump's going to help him. Christopher, thank you so much. What do you think about Biden fundraising $364 million in August? Apparently, the biggest fundraising in presidential history. So I saw this and I was like, this is really bad news for Trump. The Trump campaign has not released their campaign fundraising for the state of August, but I assume that is a lot worse than what Biden had. I mean, but this is historic. I mean, this is a record. I think this is a very good sign for the Biden campaign. I think that they're getting a lot of money from a lot of different people. And I think that the Biden campaign kind of knows where more to target that. If we look at where Hillary Clinton spent her money in 2016, I mean, it was in the dumbest places. Hillary Clinton spent more money in South Carolina than she did in Wisconsin. I mean, it was just totally mind-boggling. And obviously, the Trump campaign spent a lot of money in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, and Trump held rallies there, unlike Hillary Clinton. So I think Biden is going to know where to put money. He's going to put money in Arizona. He's going to put money into Florida. He's going to put money into the Rust Belt states. And I think that Biden's going to put less money in states like Texas, where like presumably it's possible that he flips it, but he doesn't need it to win. So I definitely think that the Biden campaign is going to be like smarter than the Clinton campaign. But also the Trump campaign has raised historic amounts of money starting all the way from 2017. So I don't think that we should count Trump out right now just because Biden's out fundraising him. I mean, Trump outraised all of the Democrats combined like late 2019 coming into 2020. So I think Trump definitely has a lot of money on hand. I think right now they're about even. I think Biden's probably going to surpass him because I think his fundraising numbers are probably just going to continue to be better than Trump's right now. But also, and I've talked about this a lot, I think that advertising and money in politics is going to be less influential. I mean, I think there's only about 5% of the voting electorate that doesn't really know who they're going to vote for. And like all this like ad money spending is just targeted at those 5% of voters. So, I mean, these campaigns, if they're raising $6 billion, that's more like that's like per dollar than there are people, like, which is crazy. So like, let's say there's only like 5 million voters that they're actually going to target. I mean, they're going to be spending like probably like over $100 per voter. I mean, which is crazy. I mean, each campaign, I mean, it might be as much as $500 per voter. And like right now, I don't think advertising is necessarily the best way to convince people. Like, you can have free advertising on Twitter and like writing articles. I can see that y'all are talking about the Atlantic article. I really don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not. I really don't know who to believe. I mean, I think it's really, really bad for Trump if it's true. I mean, I think he would lose the election if it can totally be verified. But I think Trump has been very good at kind of deflecting and kind of like calling stuff fake news. Like when John Bolton's book came out, I think that was very I thought that was very damaging for him, but it still worked. Par, thank you so much for the super chat. This is probably the last super chat I end on unless I get one more. So all right, let's go. Sir, a Trump base is very energetic as compared to Biden. Does this affect outcome, or it's just because Biden's base is just people who want Trump out? So I do agree. I think there's more energy on the Trump side. I think that 90% plus of the voters that voted for Trump in 2016 are going to vote for him again. I think we see a lot of emphasis from the media, from the Lincoln Project, focus on voters who voted for Trump in 2016 but are kind of against him now. I don't think there's actually a lot of voters like that. I think Trump could pick up a few voters who just didn't vote in 2016, maybe because they didn't think Trump had a chance. So maybe, and I think it's primarily going to be like the voters that are going to matter would be like the non-college educated voters in the Rust Belt. I think so that maybe just didn't turn out to vote. And I think just because of all like the culture wars, like they might not be super invested in politics, but I think they'll just vote for Trump as a default because they're around a lot of people who like Trump. But like I don't think any Hillary Clinton voters are going to go over to vote for Trump. In terms of Biden's base, I think his base is very diverse. I don't think anyone's just like diehard Biden. I mean, I don't even think Biden is very diehard for himself. I mean, he's just a very like calm guy, like kind of like everything's gonna be fine, like very like soft spoken. So like no one's really diehard Biden. How much of an effect is this going to have? I think if Trump continues to kind of be like more reckless and like on Twitter he kind of just says a bunch of different things, then it will be like pretty hard for him to. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. But I think that if Trump continues being his reckless self, then there'll be kind of a lot of anti-Trump energy that will bring people to the polls. If Trump is very disciplined and can like position himself as like a stable leader, then I think that Biden's base might diminish because no one is super excited about like even on the Democratic side, like as like Biden being president, just specifically him. But I think a lot of people really want Trump out. So if Trump kind of acts more normal, then I think people like might be like less mad at him and like less kind of willing to vote against him. But like Trump's people are definitely going to vote for Trump. So I think that this probably helps Trump more, that his base is more energized than the Biden one. All right, guys, I'm gonna wait for 1 or 2 more minutes for any last super chats. If y'all have any last questions, other than that, I'm gonna get off. It's a beautiful day where I am, so I'm gonna spend some time outside. I don't want to spend a bunch of time just on my computer inside. But any last super chats, questions, and I'm gonna get off. So I'll probably wait until we're at 35:30 right now. I'll wait until 37 for any last questions. But if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. I'm going to be trying to doing these lives about 3 to 4 times a week. I really enjoy doing them. I can kind of just answer your questions directly. Thank y'all so much, Christopher. Thank you so much. You've really been a loyal person on this live stream. Same with Parth, and same with Owen W, who I think is from Britain, because he's donating in pounds. All right, guys. Thank y'all so much, and I will see you. I'll probably do another live stream maybe tomorrow night or on Monday night. That's when I typically do them, but I hope y'all are having a great day, and see you later. Be on the lookout for a new video tonight, which I think y'all will enjoy.